Good morning. It's time for Coffee and Jesus this morning. I'm wearing my I Need Coffee and Jesus shirt. I just wanted to say welcome. Today we're going to talk about confidence that comes from within. We've all had people who told us we couldn't do something, told us we weren't good enough, and sometimes we've internalized that and it kind of holds us back, especially as, for women who are entrepreneurs. That's a big deal, right? Because you want to show up as yourself. You want to show up and be authentic, and that's kind of a buzzword these days, but you want to be who you are because you want the right people to be drawn to you. So being yourself is important, but you have to be confident enough to be yourself, right? So this morning when I was praying about what God wanted me to share, I'm like, God, who in the Bible, who in the Bible has that confidence that we need, that we should have? Show me someone. And of course my mind always goes to Deborah, because I'm a big Deborah fan, because old buddy come up and says, hey, can we win this? What are we supposed to do? And she gets a word from God, and he says, okay, I'll do it, but only if you go with me. And she's like, okay, well, let's go. Didn't hesitate, didn't stop, didn't do anything. She was confident in the Word of God, right? She was confident in what was going to happen because she understood how to connect this way so that she could get that word from God. But God took me to Proverbs 31, and we all look at the Proverbs 31 woman. You look at it and it's like, wow, that's impossible. Who can do all of that stuff, right? But we can. If it's in there, if God says we can, then we can do all of that stuff, Her husband trusted her. Her husband and her kids rose up and called her blessed. She had multiple entrepreneur jobs, businesses. She bought land, put a vineyard on it, and, did all these different things. But at the very end of the chapter, it says she feared the Lord. So the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, right? But you have to trust what God tells you in order to operate in that kind of faith, right? So God says, go give this person a word. Go tell this person that, I love them. It's a very simple thing, but sometimes we're afraid to say that. We're afraid to step out on that because we don't know what's going to happen. And I think, for me, I learned by trial and error. Like, I would be in church and God would say, go tell so-and-so something. And I would be afraid to do it. I'm like, Lord, is that you? Is that me? Am I being crazy? What is this? And then someone else would do what I was supposed to do, right? I've got a hair. I am so sorry. I tried to get all this mess pulled back because I knew it was going to be outside today. It's a beautiful day. I thought I'll just come out from my porch. So I knew that that's how I learned to discern God's voice, was not stepping out and saying, okay, God, if this is you, send someone else to give that person that word. And I would see other people do it. So that's how I learned to discern the voice of God. And that's how I learned to have confidence in what He said, to be able to go out and do what He said to do. The other part of it is knowing who you are, right? So if you know who you are, and you know whose you are, and you know what time you're in, what season you're in your life with God, it's easier to operate in that kind of faith. It's easier to say, okay, God said to do this, and let's go do it. Sometimes we let those voices in our head tell us that we can't do that because we've been told, as a child, I was told I won't amount to anything, I won't do anything. All of us have someone in our lives that have spoken that negativity over us. Every one of us have that. We have to learn to discern the voice of God and know who we are. If we know who we are and we know what the Word of God says, then we're able to step out and do what He's called us to do. We're able to have that confidence. And really, it's Godfidence more than confidence, right? Because if He's saying do it, you have what's in you to go and do it. It's in you. You just have to step out. And we learn to have that strength and that confidence by stepping out into it. Morning, Nat. Hey, Candy. So that's where your confidence comes from. It comes from inside, knowing who you are, knowing what God's put in you, knowing what you're capable of because He says you're able to do it, right? Let me check my notes real quick because I'm just going off everywhere. I'm not even looking at them. Oh, goodness. So the Proverbs 31 woman loved with her whole heart, but she lived with a purpose. she lived with the purpose in her heart. She would take care of her husband. She would take care of her kids. They had everything that they needed. She would go out and have business. She would use her resources wisely to start that business. She would step out in that confidence. And she didn't worry about, we get worried about, okay, what if I fail? What if I fail? What if I fail? What if you succeed? What if you succeed in what you're called to do? What if you succeed and you break someone free of some sort of mindset, or you help them to accelerate in their life? You help them to draw closer to God. You help them to know God. What if you succeed, right? So we have to look at those doubts, those self-doubts, those things that are holding us back, and we have to say, that's not God speaking to me. And you have to tell the devil to shut up sometimes, and I've done that. I look crazy. It's okay. I'm aware. As a prophetic person, I understand, I'm not always going to look normal. But I will tell the devil, shut up. When I start getting those thoughts, and this happens, especially with starting this business, things have happened where I'm like, I don't know, Lord, is this really you? Never make a decision in the middle of a crisis when the decision you originally made was in the secret place. So if God says, this is what I want you to do, and in your private time with God, and God gives you a list, and this is how we're going to do that, and then you get in the middle of it and you get some resistance, don't change that. The reason you don't change that is because God told you to do it. You're responding. You're reacting to resistance. You're not responding to the voice of God. And so you have to keep that confidence up, and you have to tell the devil, get out of my face. Shut up. Go sit down somewhere. There's a story, and I can't remember who told it, but I thought, man, that is so me. He was talking about someone that he knew that when he was encountering resistance and not able to break through something, or was being attacked by the enemy, he would set two chairs down facing each other, and he would tell the devil to sit in one. He's going to watch him worship. That would be something I would do, because I'm just that weird. But we know who we are. We know what we're carrying inside of us. Once you get to that treasure box and you open it up and you start unpacking it, God is going to use every piece of that. We all have a history. We all have stuff in our past that didn't work out the way it should have, that shouldn't have happened. And God will use that to help others who are going through that to break through so that they can get to where they need to be. They may not be on the same path. A lot of the women that I minister to and that I coach, my clients, are not on the same path that I'm on. But because I've been where they're at, I can help them break through, right? And that's what we're all supposed to do. You help them break through and get to where they're supposed to go. You're not making clones of you. You're making kingdom people. That's what we do. So don't let excuses keep you from living a purposeful life, because doing things that make your heart light up, that cause a fire to set down in you, for me, it's really helping women overcome. It's also preaching. Preaching will light me up. It just invigorates me. So don't let the enemy talk you out of it. You have a purpose. Follow that purpose. Get your plans in the secret place with God, and don't let the enemy tell you not to do it. That confidence is inside of you. We always hear, fake it till you make it, fake it till you make it. No, don't fake it till you make it. Look at the devil and say, shut up, and do it anyway. We have to start out doing it afraid sometimes. Even through fear, we have to go ahead and do it, right? Because if we do it, we got to put actions to our faith. Feet to our faith, right? So we can let the devil tell us, oh, I'm an introvert, I can't do that. I'm an introvert. I'm not afraid of people. I'm not shy, but I'm an introvert. I recharge in alone time. But I love people, and I love the people that God sends me. So that is not an excuse. I'm not trained. I've not got the education. Moses' excuse was, I talk funny. I don't talk right. Right? Okay, well, take Aaron with you. God will provide what you need to get there, to live that purpose. Because when you're living in your purpose, when you're doing what God has called you to do, when you're doing what He has put in your heart, literally will help you. Right? When you're doing that, you will feel fulfilled. You will have joy. You will have peace. Even when it's hard, you'll be like, okay, well, this is what I'm called to do, and this lights a fire in me. And that's what we need. We need that fire lit in us. Because if we're living on purpose, we're living out our purpose, life is fun. Life is good. I am enjoying the journey I'm on. I'm enjoying the things that God's got me doing. And it makes me happy. And all these other little things that come into it doesn't really matter. I trust Him. All these other little things, all the resistance, for me, because of who I am spiritually, it's okay. Let's go to war. I have no problem praying through it and telling the devil where to go. I have no problem getting into my prayer closet and warring in the Spirit, right? Because that's where we're supposed to be. All right, guys. Well, that's what I've got today. I hope it blesses you. I hope it encourages you. I hope it empowers you to go out and find your purpose and do what God's called you to do, okay? And if you need help, let me know. I've got resources. I've got things to help you, and I've got a program to help you find that confidence, to help you map out your path, and to help you get to where you're called to be, to start moving in that and start finding that joy and finding that fulfillment. All right. I love you. Blessings, and I will chat with you soon.